Wow. Now this is the real America. Today we're going to have some straight talk. First of all, I want to thank the Quincy Tea Party, specifically Steve McQueen, Carol Eamon, Alana Flynn, and so many others who worked very hard to pull this together. I want to thank Bill Hennessy for his leadership. Quincy is showing the way. As someone who, well, these guys, are you the guys who sent me an email? The Quincy Three. Ladies and gentlemen, the Quincy Three. Anyway, unlike Obama, we believe everyone should speak. We want to have a debate, but the White House tries to pretend that you don't exist. Don't you people know you're AstroTurf? This administration ignores a grassroots rebellion across America at their own peril. Now, as someone who has had a long career in American politics, I have to tell you that this is the most encouraging thing since I have seen since the end of the 1970s. You remember the 1970s, don't you? They told us that America's greatest days were behind us. They told us that we had to accept less. Wear a sweater, don't worry about energy costs. Just face up to the fact that America would no longer be a world power. America was on decline around the world, and our quality of life was in decline at home. Thank you, Jimmy Carter. And then I saw a grassroots rebellion called Reaganism. And I see that same fire, that same fight, that same patriotism, that same fervor here today. And for an old guy like me, this is the most encouraging thing I have seen for America, because it means that those who say we are going to shuffle off to socialism like the people in Europe are wrong. But it's very fashionable among the liberal elite to denigrate the Reagan years. The tax cuts were meaningless. The Republican tax cuts caused the deficit. Ladies and gentlemen, federal revenues went up every year of the 8 years Ronald Reagan was president. Federal deficits are caused by spending, not low taxes on the American people. The Obama administration has lost the lesson of the Reagan years. It's called the free enterprise system. Now, those who say, well, you had 8 years of conservatism under George Bush, and conservatism has failed. My friends, this is very clearly not a Republican crowd or a Democrat crowd or an independent crowd or a conservative crowd. This is an American crowd. And there is no doubt that when Republicans had the leadership in the White House and in Congress, we did spend more than we should have. Both parties, including my own, are complicit in what has happened to America. Because since Ronald Reagan was president, I'm sorry, conservatism in our domestic policy has not been tried and therefore has not failed. Now, I think it's funny that those on the left, the people who they so revere the civil rights protests and anti-Vietnam War protests of the 1970s and the 60s. The anti-war movement, when it was them who were screaming the obscenities. But now they say that you, all of you, well, most of you, were paid by the insurance companies to be here. Put up your hands. How many got paid to be here today? The HMOs, did they pay you? The insurance companies. Exactly. This is a real grassroots rebellion. And as I said earlier, this White House has their head in the sand.